So well water, brass and copper, it doesn't go together. We're gonna cut these out, change them to plastic, but sometimes you don't have a choice. You gotta use brass. We gotta change out the well tank, whatever that stuff is called. Let's go.
Now, all right, so some of you are gonna be wondering why I'm installing two different systems here, and I'm not. I'm just replacing the bad. Somebody already came here and replaced the hot water side. We're gonna do the cold side. As you can see, it's building up on the brass fittings, and we're gonna make the switch over to plastic fittings. You'll find out later in this video why I don't use Uponor anymore and only Vigapex. Enjoy the video. I'll see you in the comments section.
First things first, hang the main loosely so you can cut the T's in, slide it down. We're using Vigapex today. It's got its own set of jaws that you gotta order and their own fittings. Don't use the copper heads on the PEX.
All right, so this is why I use Vigapex. And it's not because they sponsor me. Even if they didn't sponsor me, before they sponsor me, I still use Viga. I've been using them forever. I've used every other brand out there. And the quality just doesn't match what Viga puts out. Believe it or not, it actually makes your day easier using a product that's quality. I mean, if you can't slide a ProPress fitting over a piece of copper without hitting it with a file, it's trash. No, just kidding. But before I started residential, we did commercial. We don't use PEX in commercial at all. So before 2019, I've never used PEX. When I started my residential company, I wasn't sure which way to go, like the typical high school kid these days. I think I said these days. Anyways, Instagram, everybody was using the Uponor, loving it, talking all kinds of high, mighty shit about it. So I went out, I bought the expansion gun. And I started out my residential career.
You got the main, whip it and clip it. We're gonna move on to the well pump. Let's get that cut out. Sorry, I cut myself off with myself. But I started my residential career with expansion PEX. Because who doesn't want to buy what they see posted on Instagram? Don't worry, the shirts are being printed, hopefully be shipping end of this week. Now why I got rid of the expansion PEX. So we live in the cold weather during the winter time, and I would go do some service calls when the expansion rings. Once I got done, you couldn't turn the water back on right away because it would drip. And you'd have to wait for the drip to stop in front of the homeowner in order to leave the service call. Then when you're doing a house rough during the winter time and you can't put an air test on it because none of the expansion rings are sealed shut until it actually gets to be about 55 degrees inside of these places, you can't get an air test on there. So then you're praying to God that nothing's going to leak when the summertime hits and the water's turned on. And then what really gave it up for me was a Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock. I was doing a well tank switch and I had 1-inch Uponor. I didn't really carry 1-inch rings with me, so I went to the supply house. I picked up what I needed, maybe a couple extras. Now it's around 3:30 and I'm trying to make the last connection, but the ring kept sliding down the pipe. So at 4:15, I ran back to the supply house. I got another 1-inch rings, couple of those. Then when I went back to the house, the rings kept sliding down the pipe. It's now Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. I had to put my channel locks on the pipe to hold the ring while I expanded it. I knew something wasn't right with that. That's when I started to look for alternatives and made the switch over to PureFlow. Knock on wood, I haven't had one problem with it yet. It's just like it's just like installing copper fittings at that point. Cut the pipe, slide it over, and press the fittings. No more waiting around or messing with rings. And I hope that answers everybody's question. Plus, I read that Uponor has the red and blue pipe, and it's going through lawsuits because it's springing leaks 5 to 10 years down the road because of the way they bake the color into the pipe. So I used that stuff for about a year and I'll never use it again. But you will see me use it if the house already has Uponor. Because if you already got it, all I'm doing is servicing it. And I'm not an electrician here, I'm just doing my best with what I have. I hope everybody enjoys their Saturday night and I didn't talk any smack about anybody's sister. Because somebody's sister's sitting right next to me. There it is, cut out all the bad, installed all the new plastic stuff. Got rid of the leak.